we're in coronavirus day. Well, I'm in coronavirus day 4 lockdown. I don't know about you. Cabin fever? No cabin fever. I've been working the whole time, so it's been like almost a normal day living on school site. But anyway, for you, hopefully you've done really well. You're probably more like day 10 by the time you watch this. But anyway, hopefully everything's going well. So far, you've all been producing fantastic work, so keep it up. But without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Hello everyone and welcome back to another screencast on algebra. You guys love algebra. You guys and girls love algebra. I keep saying guys, that's just not good. It's not good enough. Expression formula creating number 2. And today we're not going to look at the expression. We're going to look at creating these formulas. And that's what we're going to focus on. But we are going to go over the difference between the two. We've done this before. An algebraic expression. Listen, the key thing here is, and I'm going to show you. You can read those if you'd like. One comes from mathgoodies.com. The other one's BBC Bite Size. But the key thing is here is the examples. So here goes an expression. We've got 4x plus 3. Here's a equation or formula, which is 4x plus 3 equals 103. Other ones may be things like the area of a triangle would be area equals half base times height. That would be one because it's got an equal sign. So just remember that. It's not an expression. It's not a funny face, although I know a lot of you do think that about me. And also, that is a good example why it was mx plus c. And that's actually an equation that we use for a straight line in maths. Okay, so here goes an example now of how we would write these equations. All right, so I think of a number, I times it by 2, and I add 5. This equals 10. Form an equation in the form, it should be form of x, solve the equation, and reveal the original number. Okay, so the first thing is, let's just write down, take away all the words, just write down what we basically have. So I think of a number, let's call that number x. And I'm going to times that number by 2. So I've got 2x. I then add 5. And this equals 10. Okay, pretty simple there, I think. So hopefully now, all you're going to do is make x the subject. So I'd like you to give it a go without any further help from me, and then come back and see if you're right. Okay, so first step is we're going to take away 5 from both sides. Remember, it's just an equation. So we're going to be left with 2x equals 5. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we're going to end up with x equaling 2.5. Half of 5 is 2.5. And that is it. You can see that we have formed an equation in the form of x here, so I'll get my mark for that. And I've worked out what the original number was, because look, I think of a number, yeah, and I've got it there as well. Okay, so now it's definitely time for you to give this one a go. Just remember, take away all the words, just put in what you can see, and away you go. All right, so I think of a number and times it by 5. So I'm going to have 5x. I add 8 to this, and that equals 88. Okay, so add 8 to that, and it equals 88. All right, so form an equation. We've just done it, so we can give ourselves a little, just underline it there, give ourselves a little tick. Now we're going to, this is just a normal equation, so we're going to do the opposite of each side as we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take away 8 from both sides, which leaves us with 5x plus 80. Oh, sorry, 5x equals 80. Divide both sides by 5, and we end up with x equaling 16. Okay, so hopefully you'll found those very, very simple. The next ones are a little bit more difficult, but in reality, you're just using the exact same format when you go through. So definitely, let's have a look at the next question. All right, I think of a number and divide it by 2 and subtract 10. This now equals 50. Okay, so again, pause the video, give it a go, and see if you've got it right. Okay, so the first thing is I think of a number that's x. I divide it by 2. So let's write that down now. Think of a number and I divide it by 2. I then subtract 10 away from this, and that equals 50. All right? So just do the exact opposite each time. So I've got my first mark for form an equation in the forms of x. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides, which gives me x over 2 equals 60. Yeah. And then what do I do now? What's the opposite of divide? It's times. A lot of people make the mistake here. They divide it again. Don't divide it again. Times it, because it's the opposite of divide. So times both sides by 2. And that'll end up with x equaling 120. All right, so the original amount was 120. And let's just think about that. Let's put 120 back up in there. 120 in here, 120 divided by 2, that gives me 60. Take away 10, that gives me 50. So I know I'm correct. This is the great thing about equations. You can know whether you're correct, and if you don't get it right, you can go back and check your work. Okay. So okay, there's 2 questions to this. It's the same question, so don't be confused. But one of them is asking for the cost of the TV, and the next one's asking for the cost of the Xbox. I'm going to go over the cost of the TV, okay? And then it's for you to do the next one, which is the cost of the Xbox. So the cost of the TV is X pounds. We don't know. The cost of the Xbox is £45 less than the TV. So let's just write some of that down now here. Okay, so the cost of the TV, so TV equals X. We know that, don't we? Because TV equals X. What is the Xbox? The Xbox equals X, which is the cost of the TV, take away 45. So those are our 2 parts. Altogether, they equal 235. So let's write down that now. So we have X, which stands for the TV, and we have plus, because it's the both of them, yeah, Xbox, which is X minus 45. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? We've got a TV, and we've got the cost of the TV is, we don't know. We've got an Xbox, but the cost of that is minus 45, okay, because it's that. We should know that. And that equals 235. So now, very simply, I just collect the like terms for a starting point, all right? So, well, I'm not sure. Do I add 45? Let's have a look. We collect the like terms. So 2x minus 45 now equals 235. And now we're just into the realm of easy peasy lemon squeezy. So we're going to go plus 45 to both sides. We're then going to end up with 2x equals 280. And we're going to divide both sides by 2 because that's the opposite of timesing. And we're going to end up with x equals 140. Now x equals 140. So I look across to my TV and I can say that x equals 140. All right. Now we're going to do the next one. It's very important that you realize the cost of the Xbox. I'm not going to tell you any more, but we're going to go to the next slide. It's exactly the same question, exactly the same numbers. I want you to give it a go now and see if you can get it right. What is the cost of the Xbox? Okay, cost of the Xbox. Here we go. So first things first. So we have x plus x minus 45, and that equals 235. We collect the like terms, so 2x minus 45 equals 235. Add 45 to both sides. We end up with 2x equals 280. Divide both sides by 2. And we end up with x equals 140. But remember that the Xbox does not equal the same as the TV. So the TV, or the Xbox, was x minus 45. So we'd have 145. Sorry, 140, take away 45. And our answer is the Xbox costs £95. Okay. Now it's time for you to do this one all on your lonesome. Mr. Warren is X years old. Go easy, everyone. Mr. Forster is twice as old as Mr. Warren. Not quite true. Their total age is 120 years of age. Form an equation in forms of X. Work out both Mr. Warren and Mr. Forster's age. You've got to work out both their ages. Okay, give it a go. Come back and see if you've got it right. All right, so here we go. Answers. So Mr. Warren was X, so his is 40, and Mr. Forster was 2X, so he's 80. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? 40 plus 80 gives me 120. Hopefully you've got all that correct. Really, really well done. Keep the good work up. And until next time, write that revision card if you possibly can. Make a few notes. It'll definitely help you in the future. But as always, it's been a pleasure helping you with your maths today. Hopefully I have helped you. Until next time.